Alright, let's be honest. The CX-50 is the most confusing SUV Mazda's built in a minute. It's sporty, but wants to camp. Comfy, but not really soft. And priced like it's trying to sneak into luxury territory. It's like Mazda can't decide if it's building a trail rig or a track toy. What's up, guys? This is Luke from CarLandTV, and today we're finding out if the new 2026 Mazda CX-50 is built differently like Mazda brags or a massive fumble to the badge's identity. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. Mazda's identity crisis. So here's how I see it. Mazda's acting like it's having a full-on identity crisis with the CX-50. They're pushing it as this outdoor lifestyle SUV, but still want that smooth, driver-focused Mazda vibe. The very trim gets all-wheel drive and that me-drive setup with normal, sport, and off-road modes. On paper, it's built to hit dirt trails. But when you actually look at the numbers, negative 8.6 inches of ground clearance and those mild 18-degree approach angles, and you start realizing this thing's more weekend gravel road than rock crawler. I've driven plenty of small SUVs, and this one feels caught in the middle. It's wider and lower than most in its class, and that longer wheelbase gives it a planted stance. Feels good in corners, but it kills some headroom, and that easy in, easy out practicality people buy crossovers for. The 2.5-liter base motor gives you 187 horsepower, while the turbo wakes it up with 256 horses and up to 320 pound-feet on premium gas. That's legit grunt, no cap, but Mazda is still stuck with a 6-speed automatic when everyone else is rocking 8 seconds or CVTs. I get what they're trying to do, make something that feels premium without the badge, but it ends up confusing folks. It tows 3,500 pounds, handles tight, and looks like it should cost more, yet it's too stiff for most buyers who just want comfort. It's like Mazda built two personalities into one SUV, and neither one knows who's really in charge. Tough on paper, slick in person. When I first saw this thing in person, I caught myself saying, damn, Mazda went bold with this one. The CX-50 has that wide, low stance that makes it look more aggressive than most small SUVs out there. The numbers check out too. About 75.6 inches wide, 63 inches tall, and an 8.6-inch ground clearance if you grab the turbo trim. It's built wider than a RAV4 but sits lower, so it looks athletic instead of tall and chunky. The hood's stretched, the roofline's sleek, and those fender flares make it look ready for the trail, even if most of these won't see dirt. Step inside and it's clear Mazda's chasing a premium vibe. You get soft-touch materials, tight stitching, and that clean, horizontal dash layout that looks way pricier than it is. The infotainment screen is 10.25 inches, and you still get the rotary dial to control it, which I actually like when you're driving because it keeps your eyes up instead of poking at a touchscreen. Now the trade-off. That low roofline that makes it look mean also eats into headroom and visibility. Cargo space sits around 31 cubic feet, or 56 if you fold the seats. So yeah, it looks sleek, but it's not winning any space contests. Mazda clearly prioritized style over practicality, and honestly, that choice shows every time you get in. The drive. Out on the road, this thing settles into a rhythm I actually vibe with. Steering is tight and quick, the front end bites clean, and body roll stays in check when I toss it into an on-ramp. Mazda's tuning gives you that planted feel the brand is known for, and the all-wheel drive is standard, so you always get power to the right corners. The 2.5 turbo wakes it up in a big way. You're looking at 256 horsepower on premium with up to 320 pound-feet, and the mid 6 seconds to 60 feels legit fast for a family-sized compact. Daily driving tells the full story. The 6-speed automatic is old school in a market full of 8 speeds and CVTs, but the shifts are decisive, and it keeps the engine in the meat of the torque. Sport mode sharpens throttle and holds gears longer, while off-road mode smooths the power delivery so you are not spinning a tire the second a surface gets loose. Brakes have a firm pedal, and the chassis takes a set quickly, which gives you confidence if you like a spirited drive on back roads. No cap, this is one of the most driver-focused crossovers at its price. There is a trade. The ride is firm on broken pavement, and you will feel sharp impacts more than you would in a CR-V or RAV4. Road noise is controlled, not luxury car quiet. The upside is towing up to 3,500 pounds with the turbo when equipped right, plus stable highway manners that make long trips easy. If you value feedback over float, this setup hits. If you want plush, you will call it busy. Interior vibes. Slide into the driver's seat, and it feels legit upscale for a mainstream SUV. I sit low, the wheel comes right to me, and the materials punch above the badge with soft touch panels and clean stitching. Seat support is solid on long drives. Up front is roomy, but the sleek roofline pinches space in back. Rear headroom is tighter than boxier rivals, and the door cutouts aren't super tall, so taller friends will notice getting in and out. Cargo sits around the low 30 seconds in cubic feet with the seats up and mid 50 seconds folded, which is fine for a Costco run or camping bins, just not class-leading. The load floor is wide and flat, which makes sliding gear in easy. On the tech side, Mazda sticks with the 10.2 5-inch center display and its Mazda Connect layout. I run Apple CarPlay and Android Auto without drama, and the rotary controller is clutch when the road gets bumpy because I can keep my eyes up and twist to what I need. Touch response is available for the basics, but the dial is still the move when you're rolling. Physical climate knobs keep it simple. If you're into audio, the available Bose setup actually brings low-end punch without rattling panels, and it stays clean when you crank it. Wireless charging shows up on the higher trims, along with multiple USB-C ports, so phones stay topped off. Daily life stuff matters, so I check the little things. 2 car seats fit across the rear bench, but you'll want the narrower bases so the buckles aren't buried. Visibility is decent through the windshield and mirrors, though the thick rear pillars make the blind spot system earn its keep. The driver assist suite is loaded the way buyers expect now. You get adaptive cruise with stop and go, lane keep, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic, front and rear automatic braking, and available surround view on upper trims. The tuning is calm, not grabby, which is how it should be. For ownership, the hybrid trim brings strong mileage for the class, while the turbo trades economy for torque. Towing up to 3,500 pounds when equipped right is a real perk for small trailers. Warranty coverage is the typical 3-year basic and 5-year powertrain. If your priority is cabin quality and clean ergonomics, bet this checks out. If you need max space, there are roomier picks. What about the off-road claims? Quick reality check from my seat time on dirt. The CX-50 talks a big trail game with iActive all-wheel drive standard and an off-road mode baked into MyDrive. The system shuffles torque fast and uses brake-based tricks to keep a slipping wheel in line. It works on loose gravel, wet grass, and mild 2-track. I could keep momentum without drama, no cap. The limits show up once the terrain stacks up. Ground clearance tops around 8.6 inches, and the approach angle sits in the high teens, so sharp breakovers and dugout washouts ask more than the front bumper wants to give. You can feel the nose threaten to scrape before the tires even get to work. Tires tell the story. Most trims roll out on road-biased 19 seconds or 20 seconds with pavement-friendly rubber. They are quiet and grippy on asphalt, but they glaze over in mud and claw only so much on rock. The Meridian Edition flips the script a bit with 18-inch wheels and Falcon Wild Peak A divided by T-Trail tires, plus some extra body protection. That setup finally gives the CX-50 bite and sidewall you can trust on rougher cuts of trail. Even there, you're still dealing with a single-range all-wheel drive system. There is no low range and no locking differential, so any crawl is software and brakes, not hardware. It will get you to a campsite that sits past a rutted access road. It will not feel happy on ledges or deep ruts that a Forester Wilderness or Outback Wilderness shrugs off. Use case matters. If your life is gravel roads, forest access, snow days, and the occasional washed-out shoulder, the Mazda's traction tuning is money, and the chassis feels planted. If you want legit trail depth, Subaru's wilderness stuff brings more clearance, more approach angle, and more tires from the factory. The CX-50 sells the look and handles the light work. For the heavy lifting, you'll be asking it to be something it is not. Built different or built wrong? If you care about how an SUV drives, the CX-50 slaps. Steering is sharp, the chassis stays planted, and the turbo trim pulls hard with up to 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet on premium. All-wheel drive is standard across the board with MyDrive modes, so traction is handled. The 6-speed automatic is old tech, but the shifts are decisive and predictable, which I actually prefer over rubbery CVTs. EPA numbers aren't class best on the turbo at 23 miles per gallon in the city and 29 miles per gallon on the highway, but the hybrid answers with an estimated 38 miles per gallon and 219 combined horsepower. Towing up to 3,500 pounds gives it real weekend utility. That is a legit package for drivers who want feedback, not float. Now, the trade sheet. The ride runs firm on rough pavement, and you will feel sharp hits more than in a CR-V or RAV4. The design looks tough, with up to 8.6 inches of clearance, but approach and breakover limits keep it in the light trail lane unless you spec the Meridian's all-terrain tires. Cabin quality is sweet, yet space is mid-pack. Figure roughly 31 cubic feet of cargo with seats up and about 56 folded, plus tighter rear headroom because of the low roof. Infotainment is clean, and the rotary controller works great on the move, though some folks still want full-time touch. So who should buy it? If you love a driver's feel, want premium vibes without paying luxury money, and you are cool with giving up some softness and space, bet this one's built differently in the best way. If your priorities are a couch-like ride, max interior volume, and the quietest cabin, you will call it built wrong for your life. Pick based on how you actually drive, not how the brochure looks.